our weekly live show right here inside of the Tribe of Legends, where we go live every single week. I promise I'm going to start keeping it to 15 minutes or less right here inside of our news feed in the Tribe of Legends Facebook group. I'm really looking forward to sharing today's message with you about 3 elements that you want to incorporate into your company culture that is going to lead to your individual team members and your team as a whole being happier and being more productive. This is going to be great for you if you are someone who historically, if you can just think back to some of the thoughts you've been having around team members or leading a team, like, I wish my team would stop making so many mistakes, or this one, I'm so frustrated because every time I have a project for a team member to work on, I'm waiting for them and it's already past the deadline. And what's most frustrating about that, because I've certainly experienced this as well, is that in your mind, you are on a very particular timeline in when you want things to roll out in your company. And when your team is behind on meeting those deadlines, you start to feel like panic. You start to feel anxious. You're like, oh my gosh, now we're pushed back a week, we're pushed back a month. And it kind of looks like everything's going to have to be pushed back. And then you're all worried about your goals. And maybe this is another thought that you've had about individual team members or your team as a whole. I wish they would bring creative, innovative ideas to me instead of me constantly having to tell them what to do. Right, so let me know in the comments below, let everybody else know in the comments below if you've ever experienced one of those 3 thoughts, or if any of those 3 things are going on in your team. So frustrated because they're making a lot of mistakes, and maybe you're actually going in and fixing them. Number 2, are they missing deadlines and timelines are not being met? It's like pushing projects back. And number 3, do you wish they would bring better ideas, innovative ideas to the table, or like bring ideas to the table at all? I think sometimes when we hire team, we have this expectation that they're going to come in and they're going to just know exactly what to do, right? Because in our minds, we're thinking, I have this position or this activity or this task. I'm spending a lot of time on it. So you're aware of where a lot of your time is going. And it's kind of keeping you behind the scenes. It's keeping you behind the computer. It's keeping you hidden. But it's something that has to get done so that the company can function and run and grow. But you've recognized your company can only grow so far. In fact, it's probably reached its limit. In fact, it has reached its limit. So wherever you are right now in your business, wherever your company is at, it has reached its limit the way that you're currently operating inside of your own business. It's also reached its limit based on the way that you are leading your team, okay? So you've already identified that, I'm sure. I have a feeling you're really well aware of it. And at this point, you've probably been doing it so long, and you've been aware of it for so long, you're frustrated and you're annoyed, but you're more frustrated and annoyed at yourself because you keep doing it. And there's some fear around letting that piece go and fully handing it over to a team member. Inside of our Rise to Legendary Mastermind, not only do we work with our elite level clients who have multiple mid-level 6-figure businesses, and some of them love having a $500K a year business, and that is like giving them everything that they want and need and desire. And other people are going for that 7-figure year in the next 1, 2 to 3 years, which is awesome. We all have that choice. One of the things that we started incorporating almost a year ago was a once a month training that our clients got to invite their team members to. And so some of our clients have 2 team members, some have 3, some have 5, and all of their teams are together for this incredible training that we do. And so we train on a topic, and then we put the leaders in breakout rooms with their teams. They actually run a simulation of what we just taught. We come back to the call, people share their takeaways and wins, and then the idea is that for that next month, our clients and their teams are implementing that. And the feedback has been absolutely extraordinary. Even with that degree of training that we provide, we still hear things like, gosh, so-and-so is, every time she submits a project, there are just so many mistakes. It's just not up to par. I can't imagine handing this over to my big client. And so what we've seen our clients do is, rather than having the conversation with the team member, they're jumping in and spending hours fixing the mistakes. Or they notice that team members are behind schedule. Rather than having that conversation with the team, they're jumping in, doing a bunch of work so that they can speed the process up, so that they can get the project over to the client. The other thing that we hear, I've already said it, but it's this idea that we're going to hire team members for these particular activities and projects and positions. We think we're hiring someone who's an expert in that category. And because we're assuming they are obviously the expert, they're really, really good at what they do, they're going to come in and just be able to like pick it all up. And they're going to be able to do it. And not just do it, but literally produce the most epic results like overnight and completely own that position. That's what a lot of company owners are thinking in their minds, and that's how a lot of company owners are approaching bringing on team members and then treating their team members in that way. And what we're not considering is this, and this is something that I hope is going to completely shift your mind frame around the way that we want to lead our team members. So let me ask you this question. Are you leading your team members and treating your team members the same way you are leading and treating your paying clients? Let that sink in for a minute. If you are in this group, I imagine that you are a big believer in excellency and providing a world-class experience, because that is one of my big values as a business owner, especially in the service-based industry, working with a lot of clients and helping them transform. We have a really high bar of innovation, integrity, excellency, and mastery for ourselves in the way that we're treating and leading our clients. And it shows, right? Are you operating that way with your team members? And maybe you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being the lowest, 10 being like absolutely. Like I could go teach a master class on this topic myself. And just rate yourself. And if you're comfortable, type that into the comments below. And I think we tend to forget that our team is another client. Your team is another client. And so they need to be led. They need to be properly onboarded. They need to be trained. They need to be mentored, and they need to be coached, because they're human. And not only do you want to be happy in your life, in your relationships, and in your business, your team members also want to be happy. They want to love showing up for you and your company and your vision every single day. They want to love showing up for your clients. They want to love showing up for each other and picking up the slack and having each other's back. They want to feel like they have purpose. How do we do that? How do we cultivate a culture of happy team members? Because, you know, I'm not saying that it's 100% your responsibility. However, as the company owner, as the CEO, and as the head leader of your vision, it is absolutely your job to ensure you are creating an environment and an experience and a journey for every single one of your team members so that they are happy. Because when your team members are happy and you know how to create that happiness, they're going to be high performers and high producers, and also really, really fun to be around and interact with and build this whole thing together, right? Sometimes when we have team, and maybe you felt this way before, you still feel like you're doing it all by yourself. And if that's the way we feel, and we already have team members on board, then there's something we're not doing right. So what I want to share with you today are 3 elements that you want to make sure you are putting in place. So there are systems, there are ways of communicating this, there are processes you want to follow. This is not just like know it, teach it to your own team, tell them about it, and then it's going to translate into happy, high producing team members. This is your job to create. It's your job to cultivate. It's also your job to maintain and sustain. Not just when a team member first joins your team, all the time, all the time. So let's dive into each one of these three. Number one, autonomy. What are your team members craving? What do they desire? What do they want? How do they want to feel? Well, we know that they want to feel happy, so how do we create that in them? Autonomy is number one. That means they want to control their own destiny. There's lots of ways you can create that, but I'll give you one tip. I highly recommend that every single month you have a conversation. Only needs to be about 20 minutes. It could be over a snack, it could be over coffee, it could be over lunch, where you're just gathering with each one of your team members by themselves and you're having a conversation about how they feel about their position. How's it going for them? What else is going on in their life? What would have them feel like they were kind of owning their position even more? Are they in their zone of genius? What ideas did they have? Is there anything that they're not doing that you're not allowing them to do that they would love to take over? Is there a particular project that they would love to spearhead inside of your company? Now, if we're not actually sitting down with our team members one by one and having that conversation, we'll never know. And I know a lot of people are avoiding having a team meeting with the entire team every single week. I have a lot of people who say, yeah, we're having meetings, but my meetings are literally every single week, individually with every single team member. This autonomy piece and this 20-minute meeting isn't the same type of meeting I'm talking about. The meeting that you probably are already having with your team members is all about projects, tasks, and activities, and just getting it done. This is a very different meeting so that you can really provide them with more autonomy. All right, element number two that you want to cultivate, and remember, this is your job to help cultivate this among your team members, and that is mastery. Mastery. What does that mean? That means that every single individual, you and me, as well as your team members, they want to get better at something, right? So it's just like your clients, right? Your clients join your program, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, a year. The idea is that they reach the particular outcome that you're promising. But we'll never make that actually possible or viable for them unless we have a process in place for them to know they're making progress and to see that they're making progress, and then redirecting them so that they can improve at something. Your team members are just like your clients. So again, we're creating autonomy with our clients, we're creating an opportunity for mastery with our clients, but we're falling short with our team, right? So how can you help them improve at something? What do they want to improve in? Find out, ask them, ask those questions. I'll give you an example. We have a team member who, over time, I do this with every single team member I have, about every 2 to 4 weeks, I add on an additional responsibility for them in my company. So when someone comes on, I don't give them like this heaping mound of responsibility. We get really, really good at one thing first. We build out the system for it, we build out the process, we implement it, we improve, we implement it, we improve. And once they feel they're at a level of confidence with that, we have a conversation about what's next. What's the next project for you to really start overseeing at this company? What's the next thing that would be really, really great for you to own? We figure that out and we follow that same process. And because I'm slowing it down, it actually speeds up their level of mastery on multiple things over time. So I just did this with one of our team members that's been with us for about 3 months now. And I know what her expertise is in, but we're also finding as we work together some other things that she has a skill set for, but maybe she doesn't know how to actually implement it the way we have all discussed we want to implement it. So last week I had her work with my marketing consultant. I wasn't there, and my marketing consultant trained the team member on this particular system so that she can become more masterful in it. That is a way to help your team members become masterful. Invest in their skill development, and it doesn't always have to be you. Element number 3 is purpose. Purpose. Every single one of your team members wants to serve something bigger than themselves. They want to feel like something that they're working on is so much bigger than them. And this is probably to my shock, actually, my surprise, all the work that we've been doing with our clients' teams. One of my team members and partners, Elizabeth Galprin, she and I have been training our clients' team members, like I said, for about a year now. And 6 months into that, we had a private conversation with our clients' teams. Our clients weren't on the call, so we could get more information out of them. Sometimes it feels safer for them to talk to a third party and not their actual company owner that they're working with every single day. And the number one piece of feedback we received from the type of training we were providing our clients and them, and then what they were able to take back in their own teams and in their own companies, the team members were saying, I feel like I have purpose on this team now. And when we feel like we have purpose as a human being, we are happier, we are more joyful, which means we are more productive, we have more creative ideas, we are able to really tap into a new level of imagination and innovation. So if you are looking for more ideas from your team, if you are looking for greater output, if you are looking for a high level of mastery in their work, if you are looking for them to really own their position, if you're looking for them to be bringing ideas to you instead of you always bringing the idea to them, if you're looking for them to be ahead of schedule, ahead of the timelines you put in place, then this is exactly the process you want to follow. You want to cultivate an environment of happiness. And the 3 ways to do that, I'll repeat them one more time. Number 1 is autonomy. Number 2 is mastery. And number 3 is purpose. And finally, in closing, I'm going to ask this question one more time. Are you treating your team the same way you treat your clients? Because guess what? Your company must become your number 1 client in order for it to prosper and grow and have the degree of impact that you really want it to have, so that you can also live the kind of life that you want to live. Your company must become your number 1 client. And guess what makes a company valuable and sellable? Not your programs, not your products, your team. Your team, they are your number 1 asset right now. They are your number 1 asset. So it makes total sense that you would allocate energy, bandwidth, time, and attention, not to just hire people so you don't have to work, but so that you get exactly what you want from them. You would never just tell a client, go do this, and then you run away and not support them. So why are we doing that with our team? I promise this is completely going to shift your entire company, your entire culture, your experience, and that is going to impact the experience your clients are having, because they can feel the energy of an unhappy team or a team that's like, meh, it's okay. So with that, if you are at a stage in your business and you have team members, doesn't matter if they're contractors, freelancers, part-time, full-time, and you've gotten yourself and your team, as far as you know how, and you'd love support on this piece, reach out to me. Send me a DM. We'll have a conversation. I'll ask you some questions. I'm really interested in your vision, your purpose, where you see your company growing in the next 1 to 3 years. And I'm also really interested in your quality of life and in building a business that is sustainable so that you do have the freedom and flexibility that you desire to have in your life. I'll ask you some questions about your business, about your life, and then together we'll decide, A, are we a really good fit for one another? B, do we have a program that's a really good fit for you based on what you're looking for right now? So if this conversation is one that you would love to have more of and incorporate into your own company, send me a direct message right now. Let me know that you heard this conversation, you heard this live, and you want to talk further, and we will take it from there.